Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Essentially Prudent podcast. And the title of this episode is Begin.
You're listening to the Essentially Prudent Home Ekonane podcast, sharing your womanhood stories, what the fudge finance situations, and more. And now your host, Matt Slim.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to my podcast, or if you're in YouTube, for viewing my podcast. So, as I said, title of this episode is To Begin. Okay. So, um, just a disclaimer or caveat. Um, I'll try my best to speak in English, but since we're also catering to majority of the Filipino audience, perhaps there would be some times wherein there are words or phrases that would be in Taglish or mixture of Tagalog and English. So there, I hope it's okay with you. If not, please leave me a feedback below. So I also try my best to at least edit or give a subtitle in YouTube or a translation. So anyway, ang haba ng disclaimer ni ate. Ayun na, Tagalog na, hindi na Taglish. Excuse me. So, um, the reason it's begin. Okay? Begin as in the verb begin. Um, medyo close to my heart. Okay? If you would notice, ako personally, I see that parang new beginnings are great. They are good. But sometimes they are too romanticized that it doesn't really resonate to everybody. So when I was researching about beginnings, 'di ba? Sabi ko, ano ba maganda or catchy na podcast title? Like Robert Kiyosaki has The Art of the Start, or for most I guess baby products, The Beauty in Beginnings, 'di ba? So, ang ganda niya. It's good for branding. But personally, in this season of my life, it didn't really, parang ang gulo ng hair ko dito, sorry. It didn't really resonate authentically to me. Okay, and what I have experienced. So, I'll share with you some samples. So, for example, in this podcast, I became intrigued with podcasting way back in 2020 in the height of the pandemic, wherein many people parang, 'di ba? Medyo we were at a standstill. We were in our homes, sometimes online work, online schooling, and then suddenly you feel na parang, wait, there's still something that I wanna do, and podcasting was in that moment for me. Parang it caught, parang may um, it became part of my consciousness. So thanks, Pat Flynn. Um, I learned a lot from his courses, from his YouTube videos on how to start podcasting. So that's the number one. How to start, okay? Um, Perhaps there were also some um, courses on how to be great at podcasting. But to be great, we have to start, 'di ba? And when we are starting, personally, hindi ko talaga pa nakita yung beauty. It's more of the mess. Messy beginnings, the messy starts. Not saying it's ugly, but from what I have experienced, mostly yung beginnings, talagang sila, may pagka magulo. Not everything is laid out properly, 'di ba? Not everything you know, right? But at the same time, para siyang it's a balance. Like for example, giving birth. Babies stay in the womb for 9 months. And then whether you like it or not, after 9 months, let's say, I think maximum is 40 weeks, you have to give birth. Okay? Regardless of ano yung ano mo. Parang nobody is a special snowflake. kailangan mapanganak mo yung baby. It has to get out of your womb. It can't stay longer than that, right? So, similar to this, di ba? Parang whether you're ready to be a mom or not, the fact that you have a baby, the maximum is 40 weeks for it to be inside your tummy. Okay? So, I hope I'm able to set the stage for this. Actually, this is just a short discussion, okay, and more of a sharing for me, especially for the audiences or listeners who may have experienced setbacks in terms of starting, whether those are external or internal, right? So I'd like to share a story from when I was still active in real estate. Okay, so the way that brokerages uh, inspire or motivate their agents or salespeople into doing call outs, doing prospecting, and qualifying their leads, and eventually converting that into a sale. Usually, it's because, diba? Aside from hitting your quota, it's because of external motivations such as trips, cash incentives, and yun, being acknowledged, diba? Being rewarded for your hard work. But of course, before you can sell, before you can offer a property or a listing, you actually have to be authorized, diba? As an agent, as a broker. So, please listen to this story. I'll try my best to recap it for you. Okay. I've heard it siguro kailan ba? Mga back in 2012 or 2013. It's one of those stories na kasi ba usually pag nirarara pep talk tayo ng ano ng agency or brokerage. Sometimes we just tune out. Guilty. Okay, so sometimes we just tune out kasi parang number one, it could be cliche. Number two, it's not something that motivates you. Number three, probably it's not something that kumbaga parang is speaking to you in that moment. Alam mo yun? Kasi minsan may ganun eh. Merong something na, this is something that really talks to me, communicates with me, not just to sell, okay? But so many more things in life. So I hope this story could be that also for you. Okay, so right now we're gonna talk about saan ba yung ano dito? Hindi ko maalala yung ano. Ay, sorry, shucks. Ito ating club. Okay. So, the person we are gonna talk about today is actually a brokerage driver. He's not a salesperson, he's not an agent, he is not a broker, he is a driver who brings the agents and their clients, their prospects, okay, drives for them, brings them to the listing, to the property, the project, okay. So yun, nagda-drive siya, drive. It's every day, or I think 6 days out of the week. And then what happened to this person? So while driving, I guess it's probably more than an hour from Metro Manila to get to that project. Okay. So while driving, di ba? What do people do? You should just listen to music. You space out, just focus on driving. But for him, ako na-amaze ako ha. For him, he was actually listening, okay, to the discussion or how the salespeople were presenting the property to their prospects. So he was just listening. And then, perhaps, doing that daily, okay, he saw na, okay, ito pala yung ginagawa ng mga agents, ito pala ginagawa ng mga brokers. And then they just present the property. They bring the client to that project. They make them feel or experience being in that project community. And then they are able to close deals. So, alam mo kung anong ginawa niya? Okay, I guess merong, sorry, a little bit of shortcut here. But what he did, okay, kumbaga, he did not, number one, he did not limit himself na parang, okay, I'm just a driver, I'll just do my role. Okay? Since he had that parang awareness, okay, parang, oh, this is something that probably I can do. He had that awareness. He had that courage to try something new. Something that was really, at that time, was out of his scope. Okay? Kasi hindi pa naman siya authorized during that time. Okay, so he tried it. Okay? And then, sobrang galing kasi he did not have the gadgets. He did not have a laptop nor a personal computer. Probably his cell phone that time was just entry level. Okay. He did not have the training aside from hearing day in and day out yung presentation ng mga sales agents. And then, okay, he just he just did it. Eh, siguro, I guess, syempre, kailangan magpaalam ka rin dun sa mga sales coordinators, di ba? If they would allow it. And I guess they allowed him to be perhaps a salesperson or a referring agent. Okay? Until he was able to do it. He was able to sell. Okay? So, as you can see, in that moment, okay, as soon as he decided that, okay, perhaps he didn't really at that time decide that I will change my life by selling properties. Perhaps at that time, he just looked at the next step. Okay? How do I learn how to sell? How do I present to prospects? How do I find prospects? Can these co-agents teach me how? Okay? Can I be allowed to do it? Right? So, there. It was really so inspiring to me. Okay? How he was able to just start. How he was able to, alam mo yun, start quickly. Having that courage. Okay? Kasi for us, there are a lot, perhaps, there are a lot of things that get us hung up before we even get started. So, number one, probably things or gadgets that we need. In the pandemic, I've been, I don't know, should I say, a victim of that? Parang the setup craze, work, your home office setup craze. So, di ba? The gadgets. Number two, the knowledge. Okay? When I started before, sabi ko, I don't want to dive in if I don't know it 100%. And guess what? Okay? This driver turned into salesperson. Probably he also didn't know it 100%. And the thing is, maybe he really didn't, at that time, he didn't want to know 100%. Maybe he thought, di ba? Maybe if I know to himself, di ba? Maybe if I know 20, maybe up to 50% of the things that I need to know, I will be okay. Okay? And another is timing. So many of us, myself included, it's like a constant deliberation. Should I start today? Should I start tomorrow? Should I start when the moon rises on so and so? Should I start on so and so animal sign? Okay. By the way, it will be definitely a topic for another podcast. Okay. So there, we get hung up on gadgets, on the things that we need, the tools, just valid. Excuse me. But sometimes it could be a little bit too much. Sorry. We also get hung up on the knowledge. Knowledge we need. Perfect knowledge. Hindi naman tayo si God, di ba? Okay. And the timing. So this is what I got from that. Okay. Na parang many people in their senior years have been interviewed, what are their regrets? Okay, ano yung regrets nila as they have reached their um, more years to their life? So the number one regret, okay, is that um, they should have just done the things that they wanted to do. Okay? Perhaps meron din sila mga constraints, meron din sila mga limitations. And in that moment, they allow those limitations to actually be a roadblock for them to starting, to doing something that they loved until they realize, hey, I'm not in the perfect age to do that anymore. Those in their 70s or 80s, di ba? Parang there's lesser number of years. Not to be pessimistic, but yun talaga yung what they feel. So, parang naisip ko naman, in our age, whether in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, parang there should be parang a regret barometer wherein if there's something you want to do and you're scared to start, you're scared to do it, kumbaga, isipin mo na lang yourself when you're 80 years old. And how would you feel if at 80 years old you did not start that thing that you wanted to do? Would it be just okay lang or would it be a big regret? And that would be a very big answer. Okay? Very big clarity or clarification on whether you should do it or not. Okay? So, the question now, di ba, Nike, should we just do it? What if I'm afraid? What if I'm scared? What if I feel totally unprepared? Okay? Like what happened with me and actually continuing with this podcast. I know I have prepared a lot. As in, ang dami kong biniling kung ano-ano. If you only know. Alam mo yung ganong feeling. So, and another thing is, kumbaga, okay, so, sorry, I got lost. So, getting back to that, so should we just do it? Okay, should we just do it afraid? Should we just do it unprepared? Diba? Well, of course, the answer is it depends. It really, really, really depends on you. Okay. Number one, can you stomach doing it afraid or unprepared and not let it mess with your mental health? Are you kumbaga at that moment, are you mentally tough? Okay, that it will not affect you if you do fail, because that is a very big possibility. Okay, so yun, and I guess we should still throw in the mix the regret barometer, di ba? Let's think about if we reach 80 years old, 90 years old. Is this something, okay, will this cause me to regret big time? Or is this something parang, okay lang, buti pala hindi ko ginawa. Parang ganun. Right? Diba? Next is, I guess what I want to say for this next portion is, don't do it blindly. Or don't do it numbly. Okay? So, you have to always still be in touch with your emotions, with your feelings. Kumbaga, if you have a regret barometer, you should also have, try to have a personal barometer, personal, tawag dito, personal limits or boundaries. Like, how much, diba? To manage your expectation, diba? First, you have to define success. What does a successful podcast mean to me? Like something like that. Or if this tanks, will I be able to accept that? Kumbaga parang define and have an agreement with yourself in advance, diba? All those scary things, all those possibilities that hinder you. So you have to think about it, decide, and have an agreement with yourself. Okay. Okay lang bang ako if this succeeds? Will I be able to accept that? Diba? Success is not all something that many people are readily success is not something that people would readily accept. Alam mo yun? Or parang, ano siya, it's something na we know we want it, but when it's there, sometimes we don't know how to handle it, right? Okay. Next, maybe we could also define, okay, what should happen for me to move on from this, okay? Or we can also define um, when should I still be persevering with this act, diba? Soldiering on. Okay, so yeah, personally, that's it for me, especially with this podcast. So I got scared. First, I got excited, and then I got scared. And then I thought, hey, what the heck? Andito na lahat ng mga tools, ng mga equipments. I guess it's just me scaring myself. Okay? Those things may happen or they may not happen. And the good thing is, I know, okay, I will be happy with myself if I start this. Okay? I know that I will be happy, even with just one listener for my first episode. So thank you if you are here listening on your favorite podcast player, or if you're watching over on YouTube. So thank you so much. And I know, well, right now, I have a definition of if this happens, then I know that it's time to move on. Or if these things happen, then it's time to soldier on. So I guess that's it for my first episode. As as I've mentioned and as you have seen, okay, beginning, starting, it's not always beautiful. Okay, there is beauty in it, definitely. Okay. There is an art to it, definitely. But as you have seen, most of the time, it's messy. Most of the time, it would require not just hard work from you, it would require basically courage. Courage to start, courage to fail, courage to work on it, and courage to move on. So, thank you so much, guys, for listening to my first episode. If you like it, I hope you can leave a good word for me on Apple Podcasts. And also, pretty soon, I'll be launching more, okay, more for this year. And you can also follow me on my Facebook and Instagram accounts for now. And thank you so much. Ayun na. So, see, I hope it wasn't too bad. Actually, I'm really, really happy. Um, this has been in my head for the longest time, more than the 40 weeks for human babies inside their mother's wombs. And I'm glad to have shared this birthing experience with you guys, the podcast birthing experience. And there, I hope we can connect with each other. And I hope to see you guys again on my next episodes. Thank you. Bye.